The air was heavy with silence, broken only by the soft sobs of grieving loved ones. Rows of mourners sat quietly, their eyes fixed on the flag-draped coffin at the center of the hall. It was a solemn farewell to a young soldier who had given everything for his country. His family sat closest, their faces pale with heartbreak, hands clasped tightly together as if holding on to each other was the only way to survive the moment. Beside the coffin, a loyal German shepherd lay stretched out, head resting on his paws, eyes never leaving the wooden box. The dog's chest rose and fell with shaky breaths, a low whine slipping past his throat every few seconds. To the crowd, it was a display of loyalty, proof of the unbreakable bond between a soldier and his companion. Yet behind those amber eyes, something far more urgent was stirring at first. Everyone assumed the dog's soft whines were nothing more than grief. But then, without warning, the German shepherd pushed himself up, ears pricked, and let out a sharp, echoing bark that startled the room. Heads turned, whispers spread like ripples across the mourners. Still, the dog refused to calm. That he moved closer to the coffin, pressing his nose against the wood, pawing at it with restless urgency. A few family members tried to pull him back, but he dug his claws into the floor, barking louder, more frantic than before. His body trembled, tail rigid, eyes locked onto the coffin as though he were guarding something unseen. Murmurs filled the room. Some guests shifted uncomfortably, convinced the animal was simply overwhelmed by loss. Others exchanged worried glances, sensing something deeper. The priest cleared his throat, urging silence, but even he looked unsettled. The dog wasn't grieving, he was warning. Something inside that coffin demanded to be discovered. The soldier's family shifted uneasily, caught between embarrassment and worry. His mother wiped her tears and whispered, "He's trying to tell us something." Her trembling voice carried through the quiet room, making several mourners turn their heads. The father shook his head, struggling to stay composed, but his eyes betrayed uncertainty. One of the pallbearers stepped forward, attempting to lead the dog away. Yet the shepherd resisted with surprising strength, his paws scraping the floor, his bark sharper, more insistent. Each refusal only deepened the unease in the room. The priest raised a hand, urging calm, but even his gaze lingered on the restless dog. He finally murmured, "Perhaps we should listen." The family exchanged hesitant glances. What if this wasn't just grief? What if the dog was desperately trying to reveal something none of them could see? The air grew heavier, charged with silent fear. Finally, after long moments of hesitation, one of the officers in attendance stepped forward. His voice was firm, but his eyes betrayed doubt. "Open the coffin," he ordered. A collective gasp spread through the crowd. Family members clutched each other, some protesting in disbelief. But the dog's relentless cries left no room for ignoring. Two pallbearers carefully loosened the lid. The room seemed to hold its breath as the wood creaked open. At first, everything appeared as expected. The soldier lay in peaceful silence, the flag folded neatly across his chest. But then, just as the light reached deeper inside, a flicker of movement caught everyone's eye. Gasps erupted. The dog barked with renewed intensity, lunging forward as though to guide their attention. Inside, nestled against the soldier's uniform, was something no one could comprehend. A tiny, fragile puppy, alive, trembling, its eyes barely open. The miracle had been hiding in plain sight all along. First, no one moved. The entire room was frozen, caught between disbelief and wonder. The tiny puppy squirmed weakly, letting out a faint whimper that sliced through the silence. The German shepherd immediately rushed forward, tail quivering, whining with relief. She licked the newborn gently, nudging it closer as though to shield it from the world. Tears streamed down the soldier's mother's face as she stumbled forward, her hands trembling. "It's alive," she whispered, her voice breaking. The crowd erupted in murmurs, questions, prayers, astonished cries, but every eye was locked on the fragile life that had just been discovered. The priest, his own voice shaking, declared, "This is no accident. This is a gift." The mourners, moments earlier drowned in sorrow, now found themselves witnessing hope take shape before their eyes. In that instant, death and life shared the same space. From a coffin meant to symbolize loss, a miracle had emerged, transforming grief into awe, despair into possibility. As the shock settled, memories came rushing back. One of the soldier's closest friends stepped forward, his voice heavy with emotion. He told me. The man began, swallowing hard. Before he left for duty, he said his dog was pregnant. He worried he wouldn't return in time to see the puppies born. The family gasped softly, connecting the pieces. The loyal shepherd had carried her secret silently, even through the weight of her master's absence. And now, against all odds, one fragile life had survived. Nestled beside the soldier in his final journey, the father pressed a hand to his mouth, overwhelmed by the realization. The mother sobbed quietly, clutching the tiny pup close. It was more than coincidence. It was as if the soldier had left behind a living piece of his heart, a reminder that love could outlast even death. The soldier's mother cradled the fragile pup against her chest, tears dripping onto its soft fur. She whispered, "You're his gift to us." His last goodbye. Her husband wrapped an arm around her, his own eyes red. Unable to hide the breaking of his heart, the German shepherd lay beside the coffin once more, placing her head gently against the wood. Her breathing slowed, her body finally still, as though she understood this was the moment to let go. Around them, mourners wept openly, not only for the loss, but for the miracle that love had left behind. The hall that once echoed with sorrow now carried a different weight, one of awe, gratitude, and renewed hope. In the midst of loss, a fragile life had emerged, proving that even in the darkest moments, light could break through. The puppy, small yet strong, became a symbol of the soldier's enduring love. For his family, it was no longer just about saying goodbye. It was about embracing the living reminder of his sacrifice, his loyalty, and the bond he shared with his faithful dog. Each heartbeat of the tiny pup carried his memory forward. As mourners slowly departed, they carried with them a story they would never forget, a story of grief transformed into miracle. And for the family, the message was clear: love doesn't end with death. It lives on in unexpected ways, sometimes revealed by those who cannot speak, yet understand more deeply than words ever could.